to our origin of We the People. Tackling current issues, both political and legal, with common sense. As We the People, we must bring common sense back to make our lives better. Only on Now Media TV.
Good evening and welcome to We the People, where truth still matters, facts still count, and courage is still required to confront both. I'm Alina González Dockery, attorney, speaker, and unapologetic advocate for a country that works for the people, not just for the powerful. Each week, we expose the fault lines beneath the headlines, and tonight, we're drilling into a case that refuses to fade. Not because of conspiracy, but because of unanswered questions, political hypocrisy, and deep public mistrust. I'm talking about the Epstein files. Yes, again. And now there's a fracture, not between left and right, but between Donald Trump and some of his most loyal supporters, MAGA. And a very rude awakening to Donald Trump that he is not MAGA, but that MAGA has become bigger than the man. What happened? Why now? And is anyone actually telling the truth about the client list, the sealed names, and what the law allows to be revealed? So let's get into it. Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. Officially, it was ruled a suicide. But from the moment the news broke, the public reaction wasn't grief. It was suspicion. Because here's what we know. Cameras malfunctioned. Guards disappeared. His cellmate was transferred out hours before that fateful suicide death. And he had just been denied bail and faced life in prison. So no, the public didn't accept it. And honestly, as a lawyer, I get it. Now in 2025, with fresh pressure mounting, the Department of Justice released a sweeping memo. After reviewing more than 300 gigabytes of evidence, they declared there is no incriminating client list, no grounds to charge any third parties, and no basis to release further files. And yes, they reaffirmed Epstein died of a suicide. But here's where things took a nasty turn, especially for Pam Bondi, our U.S. Attorney General. President Trump, who had once promised full disclosure, this was a big part of the political campaign and also a big part of influencers and podcasters' push for re-electing Trump. He is now calling it a hoax. In a fiery Truth Social post, President Trump wrote, "My past supporters have bought into this bull, hook, line, and sinker. I don't want their support anymore." That's a bold rebuke, especially for a man whose political identity is rooted in exposing elite corruption. So let's get this straight. Yes, Trump was friendly with Epstein back in the past, as we're showing you as a much younger, pre-orange man himself. And this comes right as Trump is defending controversial moves abroad, airstrikes in Iran, weapons to Ukraine, diplomatic deals. Meanwhile, Americans back home are asking, why does the DOJ seem more interested in burying Epstein's files than exposing what he did and with whom? And ironically, you're having like this extreme right on MAGA with an extreme left. Extreme leftists are now all kind of joining within, saying there's a conspiracy to keep us in the dark. But is there really? Or has this just been blown out of proportion once again? And let's face it, just like the JFK assassination trials, those that are in conspiracies, those that believe the hype, are never going to be satisfied regardless of what the files show. Members of Congress, including Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, are now pushing a discharge petition to force a full release of the sealed document. Even Democrats like Ro Khanna are signing on. But here is the reality. The defense attorneys for Epstein have all stated that there is no client list, even for Maxwell, Ghislaine, who is sitting, rotting away in federal prison. Because trust me, if there were a client list, you don't think they would have used that for bargaining with DOJ to get lesser included offenses, lesser prison time? Absolutely. But there is a redacted list of names, and that is because it has been sealed by not one, but two justices. Two federal judges have sealed court records and redacted those court records to remove from public view and from public record the names of the accusers. Because remember, these are the accusers are the alleged victims of rape, sexual assault, and some were minors. And absolutely, we have to maintain that. We have to be able to continue to create a system where victims feel that they can come forward, voice and name accusers without retribution of their names being released. And again, the sealed information is court ordered. Now, as far as those that were accused, those accused that were investigated and probable cause was not found to bring charges against them, those are also sealed by court order, not one court order, two court orders, sealing and redacting those records. And why is that? That's right. In the United States, in our criminal justice system, we are innocent until proven guilty. It is not on the onus of the accused to prove their innocence. The onus and the burden is on the prosecution. This is critical. So this isn't just about classified files. It's about judicial sealing to shield the identities of accusers and those never charged after a full investigation. In fact, Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's former attorney, said it plainly in the Wall Street Journals. There's no list. The FBI knows the names of the people accused, but that information is sealed by courts, not hidden by the government. And guess what? They are prevented from releasing those names without an order by the court. So again, let me be clear. The courts are the gatekeepers, not the White House, not Pam Bundy, not the Department of Justice. And there's a legal reason for that. You cannot publicly name someone based on uncharged allegations without due process. And also it opens up a huge can of worms of potential defamatory lawsuits, also blackmail. I mean, it's, didn't we just hear all last year that MAGA was saying it wasn't fair and just that Trump was being dragged through the mud? But then there's also a moral question. When over 1,000 victims have come forward, when Ms. Maxwell is sitting in prison, and when Americans are still asking who else was involved, isn't it time for full transparency? So where did this believe in the list come from? From viral videos, from influencers, from headlines that made promises they couldn't keep. Even for former law enforcement officers who fueled stories that facts could never fully support. And yes, absolutely, Pam Bundy, she got wrapped up in that hyperbole, and she was using probably more hyperbolic language rather than just stating that we're reviewing the file. So when she said it is on my desk, she did not mean the proverbial client list. She meant the file is on her desk. And yes, after much time in also getting files and boxes of files released from the FBI's offices in New York, they ran through it. When you had the likes of Laura Loomer, who for whatever reason still has some connections and influence with President Trump, when she's saying, making these outrageous claims, and then the media jumps on it. I mean, we have to look at this. We have to ask, and we also have to demand, where are our representatives and why aren't they coming forward and filing the proper petitions with the court? Yes, absolutely. Donald J. Trump was once friends with Epstein. Yes, he partied with him. Yes, he was in, had him at Mar-a-Lago way back when. I mean, look at the hair on the head of this man. There is no question about it. There's no denying. And for those people on the left, the extreme left, trust me when I say if Donald J. Trump were on some list, if any major MAGA or Republican were on that list, that would have been released back in 2016 when the Epstein trials were first beginning. There is no list. But what could happen is potentially, maybe, a potential for bipartisanship to come forward. Because what we're seeing is Hakeem Jeffries just furthering this very misaligned argument and rhetoric. Donald Trump is preventing this, Pam Bundy's wrong. And then also to have, Dan Bongino hurling insults and threats against Pam Bundy. So in our next segment, we're going to examine exactly that, how voices like Dan Bongino helped shape the public narrative before becoming assistant director of the FBI. We'll also ask why the media and this administration aren't doing more to unseal these court records, not to protect the powerful, but to deliver justice to victims. We the people will be right back after this.